Oh, there it is. You guys hear that?
Yeah.
Let me crank those jams. Yeah. Are you guys ready to contrast Streamlabs OBS to OBS, and hopefully OBS doesn't crash on us during this because we're bringing Streamlabs into the picture? You guys ready?
Let's go. Ready as I'll ever be.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sponsor time.
This podcast is sponsored by Restream. Why live stream to one platform when you can simultaneously live stream to every platform to discover new audiences faster using Restream.io?
Streamlabs OBS versus OBS. I don't know too much about either of these, so I'm going to learn a little something today. We're going to learn which one these guys prefer, which ones they're actually using. Is one even actually better than the other? So happy Thursday, gentlemen. Let's just start with this since I don't know really anything about these. Let's just start with what are you guys using right now for your live streaming? Because I don't know if doing this podcast is a whole different thing that you want to have set up for OBS or Streamlabs OBS as compared to like streaming. So which one are you going with right now?
I'm using both, but in different. Oops, I don't know. For some reason, I'm not popping up on the screen, but I'm using both in different capacities. So I'm using OBS for work, and I'm using Streamlabs OBS for my gaming live streams.
I'm doing something similar where in some other like work case with client scenarios, I'm using OBS and then I'm using Streamlabs OBS for my personal gaming live streams and with Restream.io. So yeah, I actually use both. And there's a good reason to use both. I mean, if you guys probably know this, but just in case you don't, Streamlabs OBS is actually built off of OBS. It makes sense. It's in the name. So when OBS updates, Streamlabs can't update with those new features until OBS does. And it normally will take probably at least a couple months to update the code base and test it and things like that. So if you want to be on the kind of cutting edge of streaming technology and new features, OBS is probably the way to go.
I agree. And that's why, hey, now I'm popping up on the screen. There we go. I fixed it. Zoom problems. But I agree. And I use OBS Studio for work purposes. And anytime I'm trying to work with anybody else, OBS is definitely the way to go because it's more universal. It's more compatible. There is a Mac version as well. And there's just a lot of educational resources out there for OBS. And it's just more simple. If you try to bring somebody who doesn't understand streaming, who's not already familiar with the world of OBS and gaming streaming into Streamlabs OBS, they're going to be like, what the hell are these alerts and this widget gallery and this marketplace? I don't understand. I'm just trying to do a live stream over here. So I think for like business and corporate and normal usage, you could say webinars, things of that description, I think OBS is a completely superior platform because it only has what you need and it's completely free. There's no strings attached. Streamlabs on the OBS, on the other hand, is obviously tailored just for gamers with a bunch of gamer tools, tool sets, and marketplaces, which make it very, very valuable. And personally, I have switched over with my gaming live streams from OBS to Streamlabs OBS recently because of all the features built into Streamlabs OBS. And right now, Perrin is pulling up on the screen the whole marketplace on Streamlabs OBS. Walk us through this marketplace, all the different things that are available here, and why this would be better, let's say, than shopping it somewhere else and then plugging it into OBS separately. Why is it good that all of this is together in one platform with Streamlabs OBS?
I mean, it makes it pretty easy. So you can shop down here through a lot of really premium, really great looking themes that get you a lot of different things out the gate. Like they get you like a starting screen, which we said we don't really like too much. Like an intermission screen, offline screen, like they just give you professional designs all in one package and you just click apply basically, and it applies it to your stream and you're good to go. So it's a very lean way of applying consistent branding across your theme, which is really nice. Now, most of the really good ones here, you have to be subscribed to Streamlabs Prime.
Which I did. I did right out the gate just to try it out.
Yeah, so we're going to get Abel's opinions on that here in a second. But there's also some free ones here too, although I'm not seeing any here currently. But the long and short of it is, for themes, there's a lot of stuff here, and you can actually choose different categories too, depending on what you stream. If you guys notice, most of it's pretty gaming oriented. I think they are really, really designed to be in tandem with Twitch for the most part. But you can kind of pick a theme or a branding thing that matches what you're doing. So out the gate, it gets you a little bit better at branding, and without having to pay for a really expensive designer. And to be frank, like a lot of these designs are good enough that they would have been really expensive to have a designer do them for you custom.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. I mean, the thing is, you're not going to get something entirely custom, though. So that's the huge drawback with Streamlabs OBS and any of these designs. Now, some of them allow you to customize the colors. Some of them, you can customize the text with these. But any of the ones that have animations in them, the animations are videos that are playing back. So you can't change the color of videos for these alerts. So that's one thing that's a major disadvantage about these. So you can be like, that blue is close to my blue, but it's not exactly my blue. And so it's not going to be your brand necessarily, but it'll be close. And so I think you can find through these templates something that's close to basically every gaming brand, but none of these templates will be exactly your gaming brand. So definitely keep that in mind. But with Streamlabs Prime, you get all of these templates, all of these streaming soon screens, these away screens, these overlays, these background animations. You can swap them out anytime you want, which is pretty sick. So if you're the kind of person that likes to constantly change your alerts and constantly change your backgrounds and you love that part of the process, they don't pay me to say this, you should probably just buy Streamlabs Prime. This is like the biggest, most comprehensive library of this stuff. It's like $130, I think, for an entire year of access, and you'll get access to literally everything in here, plus a bunch of other features. So if you're that type of tinkerer type of person, just pay for it and just use this library and swap out your stuff. Yeah, it's $12 a month if you choose annual with this. So that would be worth it for the tinkerer. Now, if we contrast building, your own alerts and your own branding and your own webcam overlays and your own graphics versus a price like this, $12.42 per month, or what is it, $149 annually it is, which one is more worth it? I can tell you that in order to get a graphics package on the level that a lot of these graphics packages are in Streamlabs OBS, it's going to be way more than $149. Like, you're going to be looking at $500 to $1,500 minimum to get animations of that quality. And trust me, there's a big difference between, hey, I'll make your stream overlays, and like a guy that just uses some template that he made just for you, versus somebody who makes it from scratch. So a lot of folks out there, you're like, hold on, I can get it cheaper. I've got a designer who can make it for me. They're using their own template, most likely, to make yours. So if you want somebody to from scratch it for you, it's probably going to cost $500 to $1,500 US, depending on the level of quality. So in that regard, this is a steal. And Streamlabs Prime also includes a lot of other features, such as having a website and all sorts of apps that you can integrate directly into your Streamlabs, which is really, really cool. So for example, on my live streams, on my Facebook page, there's an app that allows me to do a supporter bar. I'll let you go ahead and navigate if you want to pull up my live stream there, Perrin. It allows you to do I have a supporter bar. Go ahead and look at like a couple days ago live stream on my page, a supporter bar at the top that looks like it's custom branded to my stream. It literally has not that one. That one's the one I did yesterday. The one before that. Cool. Thank you. It looks like it's branded for my stream, and we'll pull it up on screen right now. Here it is. See the one at the top there? Recent stars, recent followers, recent shares. That is completely customizable through a Streamlabs app. So in the app, I can choose my branded colors exactly with this template. And so it is literally the AWOL digital colors in that supporter bar up there. So it looks like it's a custom supporter bar just for me. And it pretty much is. And also, if you look at my webcam border over there on the side, my webcam border is exactly the AWOL digital color scheme. and it's moving and it's animated, because through the app, they have an app that you can use to customize things like webcam borders and supporter bars with your branded colors and customizations. But keep in mind that they do not have an app right now that allows you to customize your alerts for your streams. Because like I mentioned earlier, alerts are videos, and you can't change the color of a video. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so something that I did was, and I think I can show it here. We'll see. I actually grabbed alert packages from an outside source and brought them into Streamlabs. And then I was able to customize them. Let me see if I can actually show that real quick. Because I use Facebook, I use the same alerts for Facebook and Twitch, but I wanted the follow notification to be different. And so this one, if you see, I do have some customizable options. I can change the background of the font and the font itself and what it says. So if you see, I actually changed the background color to be the Twitch color, and I changed the background color of the Facebook one to be the Facebook color. So if you go and get other different alerts packages out there, you can get ones that are more customizable. The downside of picking some of these modules from Streamlabs is that you aren't going to be unique. Other people can use these. Many other streamers can have these, and they'll have the exact same branding as you. So I think it's good for like getting you from a basic to like a mid-professional level, like clean branding. But you're not standing out, and to take that next step, you would have to do something a lot more professional. And I think that's for like kind of more of your end game streamer branding. Whenever you've made some money off of it and you can invest back in and really hire someone to make you unique, it gets you from like point A to point C very quickly. But to go past that, then you have to do a lot more. So I think it's good for that, to upgrade kind of everyone's quality, so everyone's not sitting around with really kind of crappy looking branding. And for that, it's very, very useful. The thing that stands out, you can do all of this in OBS too. You can actually do all of this. You can actually grab an outside theme like I did and just add it in as a browser source. You don't need to do it with Streamlabs OBS necessarily. One of the biggest differences too, and I don't know if you guys use
We lost him. He froze. Perrin, no. So based on what you've seen so far, Ross.
Yeah.
For VHF or VGF Gamers podcast, there's a GHN on VGF.
Yeah.
Which of these softwares looks more interesting to you? Because you're engaging with your audience on Twitter Live. I know that for a fact. Do you think you, with a normal podcast application, would have any use for all of these alerts and these overlays and stuff? Or is that just not interesting and is just live streaming using OBS, the good old-fashioned vanilla ice cream way, something that makes more sense for you?
Well, clearly I do enjoy my vanilla ice cream. However, sitting here looking at this and seeing all these themes, it would be really cool to implement this somehow into kind of what I'm doing with the podcasting. However, at the same time, I don't know if it would. I don't know. It's just something I'm going to have to try. Right now, I'm just using OBS. It's literally just as direct as possible. I'm not really pulling up notifications. Like every now and then we'll pull up a website. But that was going to be my question that Perrin was answering right before he cut off. And that was, so you have all these templates and stuff over here. Now, from what I've seen, OBS you can bring in templates like Perrin was saying, but it doesn't offer the option of actually having their own custom ones built into their system, correct?
There's nothing built into OBS at all. Okay. So that's the biggest difference. OBS, they just give you a blank slate and they give you nothing. Like, here is literally nothing. Go build your live stream. Streamlabs OBS, on the other hand, has an entire marketplace where you can just click install and you have an entire template for your stream built and it's just ready. And you can just literally click the buttons within Streamlabs OBS and customize everything. So that's the big difference. Regular OBS, you can, like Perrin said, you can bring in all of those overlays and all those alerts and everything, but you have to go build them somewhere else. Then you bring them into OBS as a plugin into OBS. So that's the big difference. So I think the big advantage of Streamlabs OBS is that, and check the participants to see if Perrin's trying to rejoin. But the big advantage of Streamlabs OBS is that you can save time. And I feel like it's more noob friendly for people that are trying to get their alerts and their bars and their overlays and things set up for the first time. But I think that that's a double-edged sword because as we discussed on our last stream, when it comes to having good curb appeal and having a stream that isn't going to turn people off and making sure that you only have the alerts and things that you need, I think Streamlabs OBS encourages streamers to put too many alerts and to put too much crap on the stream. Stuff like extra GIFs or tip jar or event lists or just throwing up every kind of overlay possible to try to make yourself look quote unquote higher quality. It doesn't make you look higher quality the more things you have on the screen. It makes you higher quality and higher value if the things you show on the screen actually engage your audience and make your stream more entertaining and easier to watch. So that's something that you have to be really careful with when you have this unlimited click a button, implement graphics on your screen type of situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, you know, as somebody like said, I know a little bit about OBS, not anything about Streamlabs OBS. So like when I'm sitting there watching, like when I watch one, like you or Andrew Perrin's streams, and, you know, I see these notifications come up and stuff like that. I'm assuming it's all automated because there's no way you could possibly be doing all of this at one time, correct?
What do you mean doing all of this at one time?
Yeah, I mean, like it has to be automated, like pulling in the new followers and stuff like that, pulling in every time you get, you know.
Oh, no, all of it. Oh, yeah, it all has to be automated. I mean, it's designed with automation in mind for people that are obviously playing video games, right? And so you don't have time to do anything but play the game. And so if your platform that you're streaming on has, you know, an API integration, so where alerts can be pulled into Streamlabs OBS, then you're in great shape. And Streamlabs OBS is set up to pull those notifications such as likes and follows and subs and everything from every platform. Now, obviously, the most robust API integration is with Twitch. You're going to get the most alerts. You're going to get the most functionality there. And Streamlabs OBS is going to be best for Twitch streamers because that's the majority of the market, right? There's over 10 million potential customers for Streamlabs OBS. 10 million streamers on Twitch. So obviously they're going to build their software to accommodate that. I would say second best is kind of tied between Facebook Gaming and YouTube. So all the functions of those platforms are automated as well in Streamlabs OBS. So anytime you get, you know, super chat, that can pop up in your alerts or in your supporter bar. Anytime you get things like Facebook stars, that can pop up in your alert bar. And platforms outside of the big three, and Mixer's dying, so Mixer's going to be gone, have limited functionality in terms of what the APIs of those platforms will actually tell Streamlabs OBS. For example, Twitter's functionality is limited, right? Like Periscope didn't even work today, right? It's super broken. Like we're streaming to Periscope and it didn't even show up in our feed. So obviously Twitter's API integration with Streamlabs OBS is probably going to suck. But these gaming live stream platforms know that their API needs to be great in order for streamers to even want to use their platform at all because they want their alerts to work. Why? Because they're already using Streamlabs or Streamlabs OBS. And if they can't just click the buttons in the platform and make the alerts happen for your streaming platform like DLive or Trovo or any of these new ones coming up, then they're probably not going to want to stream on your platform. That's how influential Streamlabs is now. If Streamlabs doesn't work with your platform, streamers will just say, fuck it, and they won't stream on your platform at all. That's how deeply ingrained Streamlabs is into the gaming live stream culture.
Right. Okay. So just stepping away from the gaming side of this real quick. Now, like for this podcast that I'm doing, I'm running multi-camera operational, like here in-house. And I know that you also do like a lot of like live events for your clients and stuff like that. And I know you do it through Zoom. So from a multi-camera, from just looking at it from that, where you have to operate more than one camera, where like I'm manually doing the switching over here between cameras while we're doing this show. Does Streamlabs have a way to automate that and make it easier? Whereas I know OBS, you can essentially kind of time out your cameras, but it's still very, very difficult to set up. And from what I've discovered, not really trustworthy.
You mean manually switching between cameras in OBS?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, where our cameras are switching right now in Zoom, because Zoom has voice activation in order to switch between our cameras. And so that's why it's a great solution for any remote calls. Streamlabs OBS doesn't have anything like that. So that's a great point. So for those of you out there that are professional broadcasters, or you're doing webinars, or you're doing things that require like intense switching, you're running esports events, you're running tournaments, you're doing the whole nine, Streamlabs OBS and OBS are not softwares that are built for that specifically. You're going to have to bring plugins in. You're going to have to bring extra tools in. You're going to have to bring extra switching and hardware in to do these sort of broadcast functions, to get it to do clean video switching, to get it to really truly mix a more complex audio mix. OBS is better for that than Streamlabs OBS. And I've actually run live events that would like paid tickets in person, like conferences off of OBS before. And also I run live webinars on the internet, $1 million events through OBS. I sure as hell would not use Streamlabs OBS for something like that. I would use regular OBS, but it requires me to have a deep knowledge of OBS, all the plugins and all the functions of the software for those sorts of applications. For something like you're talking about, you're looking for like a broadcaster level solution. Other types of software out there like Livestream Studio or Wirecast or different professional softwares with that'll literally have a piece of hardware you put on your desk to do switching with like a slider, like old school AV style. That's the kind of stuff that you're looking at to be able to do those types of switches.
Yeah. Welcome back, Andrew Perrin, by the way. Glad to have
Thanks.
you. We were talking about doing like multi-camera operationals and using OBS for that. Yeah, and you're absolutely right, because what I had literally considered to the point, I don't mind doing the manual camera switching myself, but was actually get another mixer to hook it into another computer and then just set up Zoom all through that, just so it can do the auto switch even here in house. That's a good point. I didn't know if Streamlabs had that capability. It sounds like if you're doing something like that, then OBS is pretty much the way to go if we're choosing between the two.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Streamlabs OBS should be for gaming live streams only, and you shouldn't use it for any other function. Don't use it for anything else. You crazy if you're using it for anything else. Perrin, you're back. Okay, so here to kind of sum things up, let's make a case for using OBS versus Streamlabs OBS and which applications we feel each is best for. So which streamers out there, which type of customer or person out there would you recommend, Perrin, regular OBS to instead of Streamlabs OBS, so that they can understand who should be picking it and why?
I mean, anybody who is needing to stream who isn't a gamer and isn't doing like something like Twitch should just use normal OBS. If you're looking to really diverge into like advanced streaming features at all, and you're trying to get technical at all, just go OBS, because you're going to learn how to do use all the different tools and functionality of it better than you would on Streamlabs. And you can do pretty much everything you can on Streamlabs and more. And so if you're looking to be a technical streamer and not necessarily on the gaming side of things, I would just recommend OBS straight up. There's just more features. There's plugins. You can get deeper into the tools. You can get deeper into the tech of live streaming, and it's stable. It's the best one out there, in my opinion. For gaming, I know I cut out. I lost internet for a little while. I did want to say one of the pros for gaming on Streamlabs, I know we talk about multi-streaming a lot here on the Digital Drop podcast. What I found was Streamlabs is particularly good at doing alerts from multiple different sites at one time, because you can come, I don't know if you guys have my screen shared here.
Yeah. Oh, I got it. I got it.
You got it. Okay. So up here in the upper right, you guys notice I'm logged in as Twitch, and down here are my Twitch alerts that I can customize, right? Well, what I can do then is I can actually switch to, and I primarily focused on Twitch and Facebook. I can just come up here and swap to Facebook, and I can set up similar alerts simultaneously for Facebook as well, and have them all be under one single source in my actual Streamlabs OBS software. So I can customize them all here on Streamlabs website, and have them all just appear in one source. So I have multiple alerts from multiple different streaming sites all going on at the same time. That way, every viewer from no matter where they're watching me is able to do something that actually appears on the screen. And it's been crucial to linking my community together and to make alerts be very, very valuable. I would say the biggest pro of Streamlabs is its alert power. It's focused around alerts, especially for gamers, and it links it between multiple different platforms at the same time. It has a huge power behind it, and alerts are so valuable, as we've talked about in previous episodes.
That makes sense. And speaking of Restream.io, as you guys know, we're sponsored by them. If you're looking to stream to multiple platforms like we are right now, Twitch, DLive, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, we're live on all of those, and you want to have alerts that, like Perrin said, aggregate all of those sites into one alert box. So if you get a Twitch follow, it pops up. If you get, or a Twitch sub, it pops up. If you get a Facebook follow, it pops up. If you get a share on whatever, a super chat on YouTube, it all pops up in one box. Restream's the way to go. Check out the link in the description below our YouTube video and also in our bio on Twitter and what have you, so that you can get $10 off your first month of Restream.io. And if you want to get 25% off, they gave us a discount code just for our audience. It's DROP25 with no space, DROP25, to get 25% off Restream.io. That is the biggest discount that they do, I think. So DROP25. If you ever wanted to buy Restream.io, please use our code. Do not pay full price. We love Restreams. And Restream.io works best with Streamlabs. So that's actually the primary reason why I switched as well from OBS to Streamlabs OBS, is because using regular OBS to do your alerts is just a huge pain, and it just doesn't work that well to run everything through there. And it also just is, it's just easier to set up everything in Streamlabs. If you have Streamlabs alerts, it's easier to just use Streamlabs OBS with Streamlabs alerts. The integrations are there, and it's easier and it's better. You don't have to use two separate softwares. That's a great case for that. Okay. Is there anything else we'd like to say to contrast who should be using OBS versus Streamlabs OBS to help our audience understand the differences between these softwares and which one they should be choosing? And that's about it then.
I think you both pretty much nailed this one. I do think it's also worth mentioning that for Streamlabs OBS, because, well, you brought up this point too, just because you have the power to do all these alerts and do all these cool things doesn't mean you should do them. Because I've seen streams before where it's just impossible to keep up with everything that's going on the screen, to the point where it's almost overwhelming. With great power comes great responsibility. There it is. Now you have the responsibility of Ross of taking us out of here. Get us out of here. Okay, you can go watch this replay on YouTube. We broadcast live there too. You can go listen to all the audio versions on iTunes, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Give us one of those nice 5-star ratings on iTunes if you wouldn't mind. We will be back tomorrow. Happy creating, creators. Happy creating, creators. That was good. Create happy creations, creators.